Find out how Speedy Fresh Laundromat over doubled their wash and fold revenue in just 5 months. I'm all about maximizing the profit. How do we make the store make the most money?
You've been very influential in that. You know, everybody on your team, everybody at Curbside, especially after going to the conference, just illuminated the possibilities. You provide the model, Matt, of successfully how to roll it out and build up that volume.
Google AdWords is great. Online advertising is great. But your web presence really helps determine your customer acquisition costs. When you're paying for ads, it's like the cherry on top, but to really grow at that rate, you need to have that online presence so you're always present so people could always find you.
This is pretty much what basically made us lifelong subscribers, if you will. We've had your service since we opened the doors. We've had the platform, we've had Curbside, and we've offered all these things. But when we first started out, we said, you know what, these guys, they seem like they know what they're doing over at Curbside with pickup and delivery. We're going to use their point of sale system, and we're going to test it out on wash and fold. But I don't know if they know what they're doing with the website. So, you know, we kind of, you gave us our first round in our website, and we were like, it's great, thank you, but we're going to try to do this one on our own. And lo and behold, 12 months later, we came back and we had a conversation with you and your team. You just educated us. It wasn't even about, you know, we're better. It was just about knowing what works and what doesn't, and techniques and tactics that you've implemented that have been successful to drive business. So you kind of opened the door to us in thinking we really do need to integrate our website. That's our calling card. I mean, it is our calling card. After we switched over with our tail between our legs, your team, to help us develop our new site, the magic really started happening. The biggest parable to this whole thing is right after we got it, when we got our first large, when I say large commercial client, a week or two after.
Weeks? Actually the same week that we transferred over from
we went live
and the website, and we got live with you guys. There's a church member that walked in. He's the admin or director of the church or something like that. And he's like, literally, he was down the block from us, not too far. He came in and he was like, we're starting this hospitality service and we're going to have towels and a few other items. And we saw your website populate on Google, and he's just asking information. And I said, well, I could set you a setup account right now. Let's do it. You know, so I think I called Callie at the same time. I was like, hey, you got to get Curbside on the phone because we got to figure out how to do this commercial invoicing and everything like that they're asking for. That one grew to a shelter. So they have the hospitality group. They have the shelter now. So we have those two accounts.
Probably like a month after we were live with the website that you guys designed, Matt, we got an email from a sauna in Williamsburg in Brooklyn. It was just an inquiry, but we responded right away. I think we were live a month at max.
Yeah. And I think Callie took the helm, right?
Negotiated a little bit, went back and forth, and you know, and now we do. What do? About 150 pounds a day for them of towel service for the sauna, which is massive because we negotiated a monthly fee for them, and our revenue just went like this in like a matter of a week. And that's all because of the website.
The website we created went live for you in March just this year. Month after month, things are growing and they continue to grow. We've got a police officer who's a client of ours, and the guy is amazing. And he called in and asked us, when does that stop? Because it just keeps on growing. And it's like, you know, at Supersets, we are continuing to grow at that rate. So I always let people know it's that delta is so important, because it may not seem like a whole bunch. I mean, in your case, it's pretty significant, but even if it's like $500 a month, okay, but what does that mean 1 year from now? That means every month you're going to be making $6,000 more. In 1 year, that $500 turns into an extra $6,000, $72,000 a year. And so a $500 increase per month is a big, big deal. We'll have to touch base a year from now and kind of see where things are at, but you guys are definitely heading in the right direction. Something you've done as well is use original content on your website. And I can't stress how important that is, because I was just looking for a coffee shop for a meeting. I went to the website of the coffee shop, and all that they had on there was their menu and a picture of beans. I wanted to know if there's room to sit down. And so I actually had to leave their website because they had no photos, and I had to go to Google and do a review search to see if there are chairs or not and tables. So you've done a really good job illustrating your product and showing what pickup and delivery is on your website. And that's something we always tell our clients to do. You got to make your website reflect you versus stock imagery. So if there's one takeaway, get rid of stock imagery, show original photos, and you guys have done a really good job on that as well. Actual photos are golden. at the Curbside Conference. Just want to thank you for coming out. I know it's a long trip from Brooklyn to Long Beach, California. And what was the number one thing you learned, or what was your favorite part?
Me and Callie were more excited about the fact that we were able to network with a lot of people. It just changed the trajectory of our mindset and thought process, because there were people there that had less machines than us, and they were doing volumes like skies above us, you know? So we got a chance to communicate with those type of people, and we got a chance to communicate with people in other areas, other markets. We spent the better half of our time just going around talking to everybody we could, you know, learning and absorbing as much information. We found a couple that did contract with the Navy. They started their delivery business just off of that. We found another person that did something completely different out in Arizona, and we got excited about that. The first thing was the meet and greet, and I think that was the most perfect setup because it allowed us to understand what other people were doing and how much we could expand outside of our realm of thinking.
Once the wheels start spinning and, you know, the bicycle's going, it's hard to veer off. We just take the ball and run with it, and met great people. And you know, Carlos Ochoa is like extremely valuable, just especially just hanging out in the evening at the hotel, in the lobby at the bar and eating and just talking. I mean, you just learn so much about people's journeys and little nuances to the business, things that you can implement. And, you know, we started overusing the word optimize, but the reality is there's so many ways to optimize that were illuminated to us at the conference just by talking to people and clients of Curbside. I mean, it was great.
What would you say is your number one takeaway as far as implementing something and making a change at your laundromat?
It's hard to say. There's so many good ones. I mean, one thing right off the bat, which has made a huge difference, is we ramped up a campaign for our Google reviews, and I think that's increased traffic tremendously. I mean, that had a real impact, and that's part of the SEO strategy. But it'd be hard to say the number one thing. There's so many good things. It's hard to say which was the most important.
It used to be we'd make a website, and then that was good enough, and people are ranked number one and number two position in many cases. And then things have gotten more competitive, and now we're taking a more holistic approach, which is, okay, website's really important, but there's other factors that Google is looking at. One of them is reviews, because Google doesn't want to recommend untrustworthy places. And how do you know if it's trustworthy? Well, how many reviews do they have, and how good are their reviews? And then you're more likely to get served up by Google. It's hard to get your foot in the door sometimes because it's the people who find you online who are most likely to leave you an online review, because that's how they find you. They're digital, they're online. But in order to kind of kickstart those online reviews, you just got to ask. I mean, there's no other way.
And I got to get a quick shout out, though, to our employees and our staff. We have some staff that really cares, that have been with us since day one, and they've developed relationships with our customers, especially on the self-service and drop-off wash and fold side. That's special. They see each other all the time. That was easy in terms of that campaign because they were able to just say, guys upstairs would like to have you attest to whether you're having a great experience. And because they had those relationships, it was pretty seamless.
I was watching one of the Splash 'em Out YouTube videos about Ayod's over at Orange Bag. They were complimenting him, and he goes, "It's not me, it's the team." It comes down to if you have a happy team, the product comes out better, they take better care of your customers, they get more of that ownership mentality. It makes a world of difference.
Having the right team in place. There's so many metaphors, especially in sports, about what creates a successful team, but thinking about team dynamics and communication and focusing on people's strengths and weaknesses and creating a culture that people are happy to come to work. They respect and trust, the people they work with. That's so important.
I was just curious if you're talking to somebody who's thinking about getting into pickup and delivery, and they're kind of wondering why, because it is a different business model. There are more moving parts, literally. What would you say to them if they're on the fence?
Just do it. Jump right in. Dive in head first and learn as much as you can. There's so many resources out there. The sky's the limit, and it's all about how much you want to put into it, how much work you want to put into it, and coming back to the team that you have to help you do that. Dive right in. That's where I think the growth is.
I agree, because people are only willing to drive so far to get to the laundromat. And at some point, they're not going to drive more than 2 miles or 1 mile. We've got so many within a half a mile of us. We're able to not worry about competition. I see so many conversations online where they're like, oh no, my distributor or the manufacturer just opened up a store right next to us, which is our case too. Thank you.
Interesting.
And I think we put a target on ourselves by even doing the podcast. They're like, oh, Long Beach looks like a good place. Let me open up a store. But don't worry, a whole bunch of other people already did that. But we don't really worry about that, where if our only revenue source was the laundromat, we might be a little bit worried. And now we have no reason to worry because we're making 6 figures a month in wash and fold from a single location just through pickup and deliveries. We even had old machines that were 20 years old for the longest time before we upgraded to Continental, and it didn't matter. We were doing so much pickup and delivery. But now, actually, with the newer machines, and we also got the CCI Flex RF system, our in-store is doing better than ever. So there's always things to do.
Runs hand in hand. There's always Rashad's at the store all the time. I'll go in, several times a week, but not every day. And what I find is I'll get in and I always say I'm going to be in and out in an hour, or in and out in 20 minutes. I just got to do I just got to handle. And lo and behold, I end up spending a half a day or 3/4 of a day. And that's not only because I want to, because there's so much that you can just kind of work on.
Going back to optimize, there's always things to optimize.
Customer feedback is important. No matter when you go into a store, whether me, Callie, Noah, no matter who goes into the store, there's something that happens at a moment. A customer brings up something. It could be the smallest thing about a sign or information or how do I do this? And we're like, okay, ding, 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 ding. Let's change this, or let's make this more optimal for the customer to be more seamless at the self-service. And then a delivery comes in. We got a new one just today, a new delivery customer just today. And it's starting to do like 1s and 2s and by the week, and we're doing retention. So we're like, hey, if we're focused on retention, how do we keep these people engaged? How do we get these people to stay on board with doing their laundry weekly? The other day, Callie dealt with a customer. She came in, and dropped off like 200 pounds. And it was just about helping and accommodating that customer to their needs and figuring out what they wanted. Just being empathetic with your customers and finding out, hey, like, I'm a person, you're a person, what do you need and how can I help you? That's the most effective thing in the business.
100%. Well said, because especially in pickup and delivery and wash and fold, it's a service business. And people want to go to a place they feel appreciated. When a problem comes up, one way of viewing it is this is an opportunity to show them we care. That attitude is why you're growing. We have clients who sometimes get a lot of new customers, but they don't always keep them. It's kind of like an open house. I used to do real estate. We could drive a lot of traffic to the open house, but that doesn't mean they're going to put in an offer. And the same thing, you got this traffic going to your website, people are placing orders, but at the end of the day, you need to do a good job and care about each customer, because that's what the business is all about, is retention, which means taking care of your customer.
Absolutely. Customers first.
Just want to thank you for being on the podcast. I've learned so much from you guys, and just the way you guys operate and have a successful partnership. I think that's very inspirational, and respecting each other, respecting the customer. And I think that's the secret to growth. So yeah, thank you for sharing your stories.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having us.
If there's something that you learned in this video, make sure to click like and subscribe and share it with your friends. And if you'd like to learn more about the Curbside Laundries wash and fold and pickup and delivery solution that helped Speedy Fresh be successful, go to curbsidelaundries.com.